From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A former Montana governor says his fellow Republicans are wrong to censure Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. Coming up, find out why the former Republican National Committee chairman is taking aim at his fellow party members.
As more states drop their mask mandates, is it worth wearing a mask if people around you are not? I'm Bradley Blackburn with what experts say about when to mask up.
Well, happy Tuesday, Southwest Montana, 5:31. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwood with you here. You can see slick roads in the mining city, slick roads in a lot of places. The snow continuing to fall here on the patio.
Just looked 4 to 5 accidents along I-90 between Belgrade and Manhattan. Tell me it isn't slick.
Yeah.
Well,
Slow down.
Many other things to say. Yeah, temperatures right into the low 30s. The ground temperature's not all the way across the board at the freezing mark. So that's really our saving grace for the early part of the morning. This look at road conditions. Bozeman Pass, snow, fairly wet. We're seeing snow on Homestake Pass. Gallatin Canyon's had a pretty consistent snow through the morning. That will be the case this morning, and then by the noon hour, things begin to clear out. Watch those roadways this morning. Leave some extra time. The snow should taper fairly quickly through the day today, especially into the mid to late morning. Daytime temperatures remain chilly. We'll talk about round 2 and when that'll hit coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:32 now. Missoula attorney Monica Tranelle yesterday became the second Democrat to file as a candidate in the new Western Montana congressional district. She told MTN News she's the Democrat who can win this open seat, which will be Montana's most closely watched electoral race in 2022. Tranelle says she's raised more money for Montanans than any other Western District candidate so far. And during her 2020 race for the Public Service Commission, she notes that she outpolled many statewide Democratic candidates in the 7 Western Montana counties composing the PSC district. Tranelle lost that PSC race to Republican Jennifer Fielder, 48% to 52%. Now, Tranelle paid her $1,740 filing fee in person yesterday at the Secretary of State's office in the Capitol. She is competing in the primary against Democrat Cora Newman of Bozeman and Tom Winter of Missoula. 4 Republicans are also in that race. Tranelle told MTN News she wants to focus on Montana's growing income inequality on issues like the lack of affordable housing.
I think the issues that we're facing right now in Montana are figuring out how to lift up our middle class. There are good jobs that are out there and that are available, but we have to figure out how to have people, young families, live in our communities, make a decent wage, and be able to buy a house. I mean, these are the very basic issues that we have to start with.
As a reminder, the Western District covers all or parts of 16 Western Montana counties, includes the cities of Missoula, Bozeman, Butte, and Kalispell. In other political news, former Montana Governor Mark Roscoe, who is also former chair of the Republican National Committee, condemning current RNC's recent move to censure Republican congressional members Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. Former Montana governor wrote an open letter to current RNC chair Ronna McDaniel suggesting that the censure resolution be withdrawn and dismissed. The RNC censured Cheney and Kinzinger for their participation in the U.S. House inquiry into the January 2021 attack on the Capitol by supporters of former President Donald Trump. Roscoe says it's a mistake for Republicans to dismiss the inquiry and that the censure resolution may end up driving more voters away from the party rather than helping it in the 2022 elections. He also said there is not a scintilla of evidence, that's a quote, that voter fraud led to the defeat of Trump in 2020 and called such allegations piffle. Now, Roscoe said Cheney and Kinzinger are performing their duties to search for the truth about the assault on the Capitol. In the 2020 presidential election, Roscoe said publicly that he was voting for Democrat Joe Biden instead of Trump. Roscoe was RNC chair under then-President George W. Bush. Well, as more states around the country lift mask requirements for indoor public places, many are questioning if they should still continue to mask. CBS's Bradley Blackburn has some advice from medical experts.
More states are lifting indoor mask mandates, leaving many people wondering if it makes sense to keep masking when the people around you are not.
Wearing a mask still protects you from, it reduces your risk of acquiring COVID. And if you do have it, it reduces your risk of onward transmission.
Dr. Chris Byrer is with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. He says we should pay attention to 3 fundamental factors when weighing whether to mask up. The first and most important, density and crowding, because that's what really facilitates transmission.
The second is ventilation. If you're in poorly ventilated places where you, for example, can't open windows, get air flowing. And the third is when you don't know the vaccine status of the people around you.
Doctors say some people need to be more conservative. That includes the elderly and someone who lives with an elderly person. Also, parents who have kids who are too young to get vaccinated.
If you are in a multi-generational household, or if you are in a household with anybody with immunocompromise and underlying conditions, you have to be extra cautious. Because those folks, even vaccinated, are still at risk of more serious disease with COVID.
And if you have COVID-19 or know you've been exposed, it's recommended to wear a well-fitted mask for 10 full days around others in public or your home. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Now, the CDC says people do not need to wear a mask when outdoors, but that people in areas of high transmission may choose to wear one, especially if someone they live with is at increase for severe disease. Other headlines, the U.S. is one of only 7 countries in the world that doesn't have a national paid family leave plan. Right now, only federal plan is 12 weeks of unpaid leave for qualifying workers. 9 states and the District of Columbia do have their own paid leave programs, but not everyone is eligible. Government data shows just 23% of workers in the private sector get access to paid family leave. When almost every other country in the world has a plan for families, why is it so hard to get lawmakers to create one in the U.S.? Newsy's Bianca Fascini explains.
Poll after poll, Americans have spoken. A majority of the country want paid maternity leave. Advocates say a nationwide system would give everyone a standard level of coverage, even if you move from state to state.
If this could be solved in the private sector by businesses, we'd already have it.
Research increasingly shows paid leave is a critical benefit for parents and their children. According to one Harvard study, paid leave reduces postpartum depression, improves the physical and mental health of parents and children, and help kids develop better relationships with their moms and dads.
Moms are better off, kids are better off. The welfare and well-being of mothers' mental health, their health outcomes, and children is better as a result of access to paid family leave.
One study even found paid maternity leave helped lower infant mortality rates by 10%. Paid leave is also shown to boost the economy. An analysis from the Center for American Progress found workers and their families lost a collective $22 billion in wages because they didn't have paid leave. CAP also found that paid leave increases the chances that a parent will come back to work rather than drop out or find a new job. That helps grow the labor force and lowers a dependence on public assistance.
We want parents to work like they don't have children, but parent like they don't have a job.
But even though study after study shows Americans want paid family leave, there's hesitation. First of all, it's expensive. As part of President Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan last year, the House passed a $200 billion 4-week paid leave plan for all workers. But for years, Americans have been divided over who should pay for a policy like this. In a 2017 survey from Pew Research, only 28% of adults strongly support higher taxes on wealthy people and corporations to pay for leave. Even fewer support paying into a government fund through payroll contributions. Over half say employers should be required to foot the bill. The president's plan has also stalled in Congress because Democrats and Republicans have vastly different ideas on how to fund paid leave.
People should be able to have family leave as they need it, but also we should be paying into it from, same as we do Social Security, it's employer-employee participation.
Lawmakers are also fighting over how much money people can make on paid leave. President Biden's plan would cover workers on a sliding scale through the Social Security system. Low-income earners could be reimbursed the most, up to 85%. High earners would get as little as 5% covered. That idea ran into a roadblock when Manchin argued it would add to the ballooning national debt and drain Social Security. Then there's the matter of who will be covered. Democrats want the policy to also apply to sick leave and family emergencies. But to get the bill through the Senate, they're willing to narrow that down to only new parents. Bianca Fascini, Newsy.
Certainly more to follow on that story.
Yeah.
Meantime, continuing to fall is that snow.
That snow
and the roads are not getting any warmer.
No, they're not. And our temperatures aren't going to fluctuate a whole lot, so you're not going to see those temperatures really warming up. About 5 accidents between Belgrade and Manhattan, somewhere in the between there.
Yep.
Anyway, wet, snowy, icy, that will be our big concerns. Watch the bridges and overpasses and those curves. That will be an issue for the morning. This is Bozeman Pass this morning. This is a look at 191 Gallatin Canyon. It is going to be a mess this morning, and we have more snow on the way to affect your Wednesday. We're going to talk more in depth about that, of course, in just a few minutes.
There you go. Slow it down. We want to keep you as a viewer, not a topic
That's
here
right.
on Montana This Morning. It is time for a break.